Kind of mixed it up this week. I watched a little bit of horror, some found footage, some remakes, some thrillers, even a cartoon, okay, or an animated movie, so to say. And yeah, Freddy's trying to sneak up on my video. I see you. I watched one of my favorite found footage films, and that is As Above, So Below. Uh, this movie reminds me of like a combination of Blair Witch Project mixed with Indiana Jones or Tomb Raider, even. Because there's a really cool adventure aspect to this. You know, this girl basically goes into the catacombs, which is a real place in Paris. And, they go down there and they're trying to find this philosopher's stone or whatever it is. And it's really creepy. There are some really claustrophobic elements to it, but it's just fantastic, man. This movie is just so good, and it's just interesting from start to finish. So, As Above, So Below, Dawn of the Dead. This is the Zack Snyder remake. And I tell you what, this is in my top 10 favorite horror remakes. This is so well done. It is very different from the 78 classic in that the zombies run faster, the mall is different. The mall was basically its own character in the 78 version. This mall is not as interesting, but there was like the gun shop owner across the street. Um, there's different characters in this one. The whole beginning, when the outbreak starts, that alone is one of the best scenes in a zombie flick. Um, but Zack Snyder basically kept it different, and that's what I really liked about it. So you have, the great 78 classic, and then you have this one. So very, very good. And it's even got, what is that one? It's called The Lost Tape of Andy, the gun store owner, which is really, really chilling. It's a kind of a chilling video, but that's really good. I watched, again, one of my favorite remakes when it comes to horror. I guess I was on like a remake binge or something, but it is the Hills Have Eyes remake. Um, this movie is awesome. This is definitely my top 10 favorite horror remakes. But you got Ted Levine, who played Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. He's in this. Kathleen Quinlan. I just love the gore effects and the kills and stuff in this movie. It is kind of disturbing at times, but yeah, this family breaks down in the middle of the desert, and there's these deformed people who come and attack them. And then, I like how later on in the movie, like the one guy with his dog actually discover there's this town on the other side of the mountains or the hills, and there's this town where like they dropped nuclear bombs and or they did tests or whatever, and the people actually stayed in the mines, and that's how they got, the radiation and all that stuff affected them. But there's these people living in this little small town. I thought that was pretty cool. But this is definitely better than the original, I would say. I like the original, but this one's better, in my opinion. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. um, what more can I say about this movie that hasn't already been said? The fact that this movie is one of the best action films of all time. I mean, James Cameron knows his stuff. At least he used to. I wouldn't say that now. This movie's where it's at, even though I prefer the first Terminator film. Terminator 2 Judgment Day is long lasting. It's just a classic. The Outsiders. Keep hearing stuff. God, he's creeping me out. The Outsiders. Now, this is the complete novel here on Blu-ray. Now, the complete novel is basically like a director's cut. It has like extended scenes. It has stuff that you didn't see in the theatrical. They even changed some of the music, which I don't know. I think I prefer the theatrical cut over this because there were some things that were just brief and things that didn't need to be extended, things that didn't need to be changed or whatever. But I don't know. It's still a good movie overall. I mean, it's got a great cast. I mean, look at this cast. I mean, C. Thomas Howell, Matt Dillon, Diane Lane, Ralph Macchio, Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze, Emilio Estevez, Tom Cruise. The list goes on. I mean, it is crazy how many stars are in this. But I saw this in high school. I think it was for, I don't remember what class I watched. It was, I don't remember what class. I can't even say what class, but the teacher put this on, and I'm like, I was really into it. I'm like, man, look at all these stars. And since I watched it in high school, I'm like, man, I'm like, this is awesome. So I went out and bought it. I remember I bought it on VHS, and I just couldn't stop watching it. It's just so good. This movie's awesome. I decided to go with a comedy. And when it comes to basketball movies, this is definitely in like my top five. And I love basketball movies, but this is definitely um, an extra. You get something extra here because it's a comedy, and it is White Men Can't Jump with Woody Harrelson. You got Wesley Snipes, Rosie Perez. Um, Basically about a guy. Woody Harrelson plays a guy who can't really hold a job. Nonetheless, he can't ever hold money. It seems like he's always spending the money, or something always happens where he loses the money. So he joins Wesley Snipes, and they basically run the courts, uh, the basketball courts, and hustle for money. And they're trying to pay these people who are after them. They owe them money, and so just it's just back and forth banter between both of them. Very, very good. It's directed by Ron Shelton. I always wish that they would make another White Men Can't Jump movie, but because they've been in three movies together. They first started Wildcats together, then they did this movie, and then they did Money Train with Jennifer Lopez. So definitely a good movie. I decided to go with one of my favorite action films with one of my favorite action stars, and that's Sylvester Stallone in Cliffhanger. Um, I freaking love this movie. No matter how many times I watch it, Fatch, do it. I don't give a shit, Eric Quaylen. God. That whole beginning scene where the girl falls to her death, that is so powerful. That scene is so powerful. Michael Rooker is great in this too, but I think the most impressive thing about this film is that Stallone did all his own stunts. He actually climbed that wall with no jacket. He did that. He actually did that. I remember seeing this movie in the theater. I was very young, and I just remember, this movie is actually pretty bloody for being kind of this kind of action film. It really is. But God, it delivers every single time. I always wish they would make another one of these. It's just so good. That's why I was really interested when Guardians of the Galaxy 2 came out. Sylvester Stallone and Michael Rooker had a scene together where they were yelling at each other. And I'm like, cliffhanger. Cliffhanger 2 right there. I mean, they still had it. They were bantering back and forth. Yeah, Red Eye. I recommend this movie to any of you guys who haven't seen this. This is one of those Wes Craven movies that I wouldn't say it's overly popular, and I believe it's underrated. I feel like it's underrated, but it's got Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy. And it's basically about two people on a plane. Like 90, well, maybe not, like maybe 80% of the movie is them on the plane sitting next to each other. At the end, they have like a little back and forth, like cat and mouse thing where it's almost like a slasher moment. Uh, but basically, you have Rachel McAdams who is on the plane, and Cillian Murphy is holding her father hostage, and he wants her to do a set of demands. If she does a set of demands, then he will let her father go. And I like how they kind of downplay it at first because it's like they have to work up to it, but once they get on the plane, shit gets real. It really does. I think it's just the dialogue. The dialogue was so good between both of them, going back and forth, and her crying, and like uh, he's trying to be serious about what he's there to do, but then at the same time you could see like he's just doing his job. He's just there to do a job, and that's it. Do his part. How he explains it. I do my part and move on. That's what he says in this movie. Very, very good movie, guys. Like I said, one of my favorite thrillers. Definitely one of my favorite Wes Craven films. Okay, you can go away now.